Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. We got some great news, almost best-case scenario type news for the practice report this week. Guess who's back? Odell Beckham Jr., Rashad Bateman, Marlon Humphrey, Ronnie Stanley, Keaton Mitchell, Jalen Armour-Davis, Morgan Moses today. Marcus Williams is still back. The only people not practicing that aren't on IR are Odafe Owe and Daryl Worley. That's it. That's it. Compared to what it's been, this practice report looks incredible. Now, I'm not saying all those guys are going to play. We won't know until Sunday. I would say Marlon Humphrey's still up in the air for this week since this is his first week back in over a month. But just to have everyone back at practice is huge news. It's a great sign for Odell and Rashad Bateman to be practicing. It's a great sign for Ronnie Stanley to practice his second week. I would imagine Ronnie Stanley's going to play. Great sign that Morgan Moses is already back at practice. I would say he's also still up in the air just because he had that shoulder injury so recently, and he's back to practice in a limited form, so we'll see how that shakes out. But I think we'll get Ronnie back because this is his second week of practice. I think we'll get Bateman back. I think we'll get Odell back unless they just want to be safe with those guys. That's an option for sure. I wouldn't be shocked if they're just leaning on the safe side to hold them out another week. But I would say if they need to play, I think they're ready to go. Just the fact that they're back at practice on a Wednesday. They've had a week off. Odell's had 2 weeks off. I think they're ready to go. Keaton Mitchell being back is an exciting, explosive weapon that we'll get to add to our offense as well. I think that he's going to be thrown into the committee with Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, but they will have to make some type of roster move, especially with the Melvin Gordon situation, unless they just want to keep 4 backs for game day. But if they are bringing Keaton Mitchell up, they can't send Melvin Gordon back to the practice squad. So we either have to release him or just keep Melvin Gordon with the 4. So I'm not sure what they're going to decide to do there. I'm not sure if we need 4 backs, but there are some injury concerns still with Justice Hill, and then there's some unknown as well with Keaton Mitchell. I mean, we're all really excited and high on him based off what we saw in the preseason and throughout training camp. We know he's explosive. I think he could be a home run hitter for this offense, especially in certain situations, but we don't know his health. We don't know how consistent he is. He hasn't been given those opportunities in a regular season of the NFL. So, it's still to be determined on that. But I love his upside. And I think our running game gets a big lift with Keaton Mitchell. And our passing game will get a huge lift with Rashad Bateman and Odell back, or even just one of them back. Helps a lot. And what a time, too, to get all these guys back during Steelers week. I grew up in the prime Ravens-Steelers rivalry, the heat of it, where we were battling to go to the Super Bowl every year, and we were facing each other 3 times a year and facing each other in AFC championship games, and both just unbelievably talented defenses, and it was just an incredible rivalry, and that rivalry does still exist. It definitely doesn't have the same juice as it used to, and I think that's a lot to do with these players weren't a part of that, so it just changes over time. But having a guy like Roquan Smith's going to help keep the rivalry alive, and then above all, the fan bases and the fact that Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh are still the head coaches really keeps this rivalry juiced as well. But it's a little less than it used to be, I'll admit, and maybe that's just because the Steelers aren't Super Bowl contenders, and You know, I'd say we are, but we haven't proven it in the playoffs. We're not consistently going to the AFC Championship either. If we were both colliding in the playoffs year after year and both had Super Bowl caliber teams, I think this rivalry would be right back, or at least close to what it was. It's not quite the same, but it's still an exciting week, and it's a hell of a week to get really healthy. And I would say really healthy. I mean, there's a lot of people coming back. We haven't even talked about Marcus Williams that much. I would imagine he plays in this game just because he practiced all last week. He practiced this week. He's got to be ready to go. We're going to get Marcus Williams back. Hopefully we get Marlon Humphrey back. It's a great sign that he's practicing. If he doesn't come back this week, it should for sure be next week. So regardless, all these reinforcements are here, and we're a week or two away from having a ton of people come back. And we'll start to really form this 2023 Ravens team that we've yet to even see even close to its full potential yet. So I'm excited. It's great news. I'm feeling really optimistic. This is a weird week compared to the last few weeks, I'd say, at least like the Cincinnati and Cleveland games. We were the underdogs. You know, most people picked the Bengals and most people picked the Browns against us. And we won both of those games. This week, everyone's picking the Ravens. You know, Kenny Pickett's banged up. The Steelers have not looked great at all, especially on offense. Even their defense didn't really show up last week. So there's question marks all over. But I'm expecting a tight game. I mean, I'm expecting it to be a dogfight. When is it not? You know what I mean? Maybe the Kenny Pickett lack of mobility and knee injury can put a wrinkle in this. I'll dive into the specifics of this matchup even further on both sides of the ball for both teams in tomorrow's pregame episode. But just wanted to come on here and share the good news with you guys. I'm sure you already have seen it, but ton of guys back, ton of reason for optimism. Exciting time in Baltimore. Ravens getting healthy. We're 3-1, trying to go 3-0 to start the division. We got Orioles playoff baseball all weekend. It's a good time. But I appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense. Can't